and gentlemen, we are looking at section 8.6, write and graph exponential growth functions. Okay, so there's two ways to look at an exponential growth function. We can look at it as y equals a b to the x, or the other way is y equals c r plus 1 to the t, okay, or to the x. They mean the same thing. The only thing you have to know is whatever the percentage is for b, you're going to add 1 to it. Okay? So we're going to talk about what each of these mean. Your x, y equals ab to the x always stands for time. A always stands for the initial amount, whatever you started with. B always stands for the rate, so it's almost always a percentage.
Write that down right now, you guys. A means the initial amount.
Or your starting amount. B means your rate or percentage. X always stands for time. INTIAL. Okay. B stands for your rate. It's almost always a percentage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at example 1. A newly hatched channel catfish typically weighs about 0.06 grams. During the first 6 weeks of life, its weight increases by 10% each day. Write a model for the weight of the catfish during the first 6 weeks. So first I'm going to write down, what is my A? Remember, if we look at the other equation, because that's the equation of your book, that's also the same thing as C. Okay, so we don't get it mixed up. What is my initial amount? What does the catfish start out with? 0.06. Okay. R or B is what? What is the rate? What is the percentage on here? 10%. And remember, we're going to change it into a percentage, but we're also going to put a 1 in front of it, because B is always adding 1 to it. 1.110. Changing the 10% to a decimal. 10% to a decimal, and remember, B is always adding 1 to it. Okay? What is our X? What is the time? 6 weeks. Good. So now we're just going to stick this into our equation. We say y equals 0.06 times 1.110 to the 6 weeks. Okay, it doesn't say to solve this one, it just says write a model. Okay, let's look at number 2. A TV station local news program has 50,000 viewers. The manager of the station hopes to increase the number of viewers by 2% per month. Write an exponential growth model to represent the number of viewers C in T months. So it says to use this equation. You can use the y equals ab to the x if that's easier for you. But I want you to try to at least label them right now. What's your A? What's your B? What's your time? Do you know your time?
So what does C stand for?
C stands for the initial amount.
So A and C.
So it just says months. Is that it? Write it down. Try it on your paper. Try labeling it. If it doesn't say the time, you would just put X. So you know. Okay, CJ, what is my A or my C? What is my initial amount? 50,000, good. Christian, what's my B or my rate? Look at your paper. Where does it give you a percentage? For example 2. 2%. So we're going to make that into 1.02. So we're always adding a 1 to it. Okay? Do we know the X? Do we know the time? No. So that's just going to be X. We're just going to leave it in variable form. then we rewrite it. We say y equals 50,000, because that's our A, times 1.02 to the x. And then if they tell us 5 months, we could plug in 5 for x and find out what the equation is. All right, let's flip this over. So example 3, find the balance in an account. You deposit $500 in an account that pays 8% interest compounded yearly. What will the account balance be after 6 years? So Jen, what's my A or my C? What's my initial amount? What? Thank you. Yusuf, what's my R, my rate, or B? What? Kirsten, you want to help me out? It's going to be 8%, so I'm going to put 1, because we always add 1 to it, 0.08. And then what is my X or my time? Michael, you want to tell me what my time is for example 3? 6, thank you. So now we just fill this in. We say y equals 500, because that's my A, times 1.08, that's my B, to the 6. So let's figure this one out. It wants to know what the balance is after 10 years. 500 times 1.08 to the 6 gives me $793 and 44 cents. All right, let's try example number 4. I'm going to read this out loud, but then I want you guys to try this on your own. You deposit $750 in an account that pays 6% interest compound yearly. What will the balance be after 10 years? So label it. What's the A? What's your initial amount? What's the B? What's your rate? What is the percentage? What's your X? What's your years? Alright, so Tabitha, what's my A, my C, or my initial amount? Thank you. Terrence, what's my rate or my B? 1.06. And Joel, what's my time or my X? 10. And then we're just going to plug all these in. They're all the same kind of thing. We get Y equals $750 times 1.06 to the 10th. So I take out my calculator. I type in 750 times 1.06 raised to the 10th power. And I get $1,343.14. Okay, so whenever you guys ask me, how are we going to use this in real life? This is right here. You need to know which savings account and how long you need to put it in there to save some money. Remember, when you put money in a savings account, you just put it in there, and it earns money just by you having it in there. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to work. You put the money in there and you don't touch it. You get more money. Okay? So if you have $750 that you don't need, you put in a savings account with 6% interest, You know, after 10 years, you come out with $1,343.14. It's good money when you didn't have to do anything. All right. Excuse me? Let's look at mice with exponential growth. You have an initial population of 20 mice. They triple each year for 5 years. How many mice do you have after 5 years? So, who did I leave off on? Brent. What is your initial amount or your egg? Oh, I'm on example 5. What's your initial amount, your starting amount? How many mice did we start with for example 5? Huh? Yes, Brent. Thank you. Okay, so this one's a little confusing, Cheyenne. What is my rate or my B? It would just be, this is a trick question, it would just be 3. When we say triples, an initial population of 20 mice triples. So that means we just times it by 3. Michael, stop. Okay, our time is what, Shelby? 5 years. So then we simply plug it in. Y equals 20 times 3 to the 5. Okay, so you start out with 20 mice, which isn't bad, but it triples each year for 5 years. And how much do you get, Melissa? 4,860. So, starting out with 20 mice isn't bad, but in 5 years, 4,860 mice, that's a lot of mice. And you're not going to have, most mice live about 5 years. So they're all going to be there, because you've tripled. Yeah.
Oh.
Rabbits. Okay, example 5. There's 2 example 5, sorry, it should be example 6. An initial population of 30 rabbits doubles each year for 6 years. What is the rabbit population after 6 years? So imagine, what is my initial rate? My initial amount. Okay, Kate, what is my rate? 2, so it doubles, good. And Safaria, what is my time? For example, 6 years. 6 years. So I get y equals 30 times 2 to the 6. 1,920 rabbits. That's a lot of rabbits. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, we get it. We get A stands for initial amount. B stands for 1 plus the percentage. 1,920. 4,860. Yes. What do you mean in order for you?